Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Dylan here. We have a major bombshell today with the new LA mayor race going on. Spencer Pratt is shocking the world and really emerging as somebody who can actually come out and change Los Angeles for good. And what we're seeing is a total rebrand of California, potentially heading for a massive red wave with a new potential governor, which it looks like the Republican candidates are doing actually really well, and the Los Angeles mayor, Karen Bass. She is really hated amongst many people who live in Los Angeles, and many people who live in LA are supporting this new guy, Spencer Pratt, which if you don't know who he is, he's an LA resident. His house got burned down in the fire. He was actually a reality TV person, I guess, in the past. Really cool guy. Never into politics at all, but he's just somebody who loves Los Angeles, you know? He's just a cool guy. And after his house got burned down and he saw what happened, he said, you know what, I'm fed up. So he actually kind of has a similar story to President Trump, and Donald Trump's working his way into end up becoming the president. You know, Spencer Pratt, like Donald Trump, they don't come from politics. They're not career politicians, right? They're successful on their own accord. And once they just got fed up, they said, you know what? I'm tired of sitting on the sidelines. I want to put my hat in the ring. And Spencer Pratt, that's what he's doing. And he actually seems very level-headed. So we're going to dive in. But before we do, we're going to read scripture and pray because God comes first. Amen? Comment the word amen in the comment section if you believe that God comes first in your life. And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. Amen. That's from Hebrews 11:6. And let's pray that all of us continue to seek God, even in the most difficult moments in our life. And my brothers and sisters, congratulations to everyone who has begun investing in the stock market under President Trump. The stock market has been absolutely soaring under the leadership of Donald Trump. We now have a totally free offer linked below, or if you're watching this on your TV, you can take out your phone and scan this QR code. And I also created a free investing tutorial for you to watch as well. And don't worry, you don't need a lot of money to get started. You could literally get started with just a couple bucks. Okay, my friends, so we're gonna start off. Spencer Pratt just annihilated Nithya Raman, who was trying to convince LA that he and Karen Bass are teaming up against her because they have a better chance against each other. This is the most entertaining election debate I have seen in a long time since Donald Trump. Take a listen to this.
Robin acts like she doesn't have any authority with this homelessness. She was the third most powerful person in city council. She runs the homeless housing thing. She acts like this is just Mayor Bass. First off, inside safe, I like to say inside safe makes all of us outside unsafe. The reality is no matter how many beds you give these people, they are on super meth. They are on fentanyl. The DEA statistic says 93% of this is a drug addiction problem. Councilwoman Robin's plan for treatment first, I will go below the Harbor Freeway tomorrow with her, and we can find some of these people she's gonna offer treatment for. She's gonna get stabbed in the neck. These people do not want a bed. They want fentanyl or super meth. These ideas cost us over $400 million to house for 70, what did you say, 3,000 people for $400 million? This is an absolute failure for both of them. They're a team.
So, Councilmember Rahman, you have 30 seconds to respond.
I want to just say to everybody who's watching today, you're going to watch today as Mayor Bass and Spencer Pratt attack me because they want to run against each other in the general election. Each of them thinks that running against each other is what's going to help them win. And they don't want to run against me because my ideas, which are based on real results in my district, which are based on real data, a real analysis of the system, and a focus on accountability and using every dollar as effectively as possible, which we have done in my district. I want to take this citywide. This is why this is happening today.
Councilmember Rahman, we're out of time. I'm going to give each of you 30 seconds to respond to this.
I would
Mr.
love
Pratt,
to
I'm going to start with you,
you,
and then I'm going to go to Mayor Bass.
First off, Mayor Bass and I are definitely not working together. I blame this person for burning my house and my parents' house and my town and all my neighbors down. I am not working with Mayor Bass. Second off, if I wanted to run against anybody, it would be the council member who is terrible. Mayor Bass has at least been a mayor for almost 4 years and has, as she talked about earlier, the unions, all the unions endorsed Mayor Bass. You think it's easier to run against the incumbent mayor with all the unions or a random city council member who's been a failure for 6 years? I would much rather run against Councilwoman Rahman. Thank you very much.
Very much, Mr. Pratt. So,
Wow, how crazy is that, my friends? Now, take a look at this. Benny Johnson breaking down how well Spencer Pratt is doing. So let's tune in, my friends.
LA is a pile of smoldering trash, and the rats are fighting over the refuse. It is disgusting and indefensible what has been done to the City of Angels, gone straight to hell. And somebody who remembers how great the city actually could be, Spencer Pratt, a reality television star from the early aughts, what does that remind you of? Who just wants to make LA great again, is delivering banger after banger and winning the hearts and minds of Angelinos with ads like this one. Many people calling this one of the best 30-second ads in the history of politics.
This is where Mayor Bass lives. You notice something? Or here, where Nikki Rahman's $3 million mansion sits. They don't have to live in the mess they've created where you live. This is where I live. They let my home burn down. I know what the consequences of failed leadership are. That's why I'm running for mayor. For my sons and the rest of us Angelinos that want to stop these corrupt politicians from destroying our city. We are going to get the golden age of Los Angeles back. This is where Mayor Bass.
Every single hero and villain needs an origin story. This is the hero origin story right here. This shot right here is a money shot. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, the money is on Spencer Pratt. Now, Spencer Pratt killed it in last night's LA mayoral debate. 80% of the debate watchers say Spencer Pratt won. This is a wake-up call for all of LA. Let's explain why. In fact, 88% say Spencer Pratt won. He's running against Nikki Rahman, who whatever the hell that she is. She's like some type of like DEI communist. And Karen Bass, who's also, let me check here. Let's just go back to my notes. Oh yeah, a DEI communist. LA, a once great city, of course, has been collapsing in real time before our very eyes. It's been happening certainly over the last couple of decades, but it's accelerated. And now it's time for a change. Spencer Pratt is blowing him out with this polling win. Spencer Pratt's reaction to, here's Nikki Rahman attacking him, is hilarious. We need more of this. This is Trump, by the way. This is LA Trump. Watch this.
This idea of what Los Angeles looks like. This is really not this. I'm not sure how to respond to that vision of Los Angeles. This is a MAGA Republicans' idea of what Los Angeles looks like. This is really not this.
Can you see the reality TV star shining through? Spencer Pratt going banger after banger against Nikki Rahman, and it was a total bloodbath. Everybody posting this GIF. This is exactly what Trump used to do. You know, it's very interesting. You got these Nikki Rahmans who weren't born in LA. They're not from LA. They're not from America. They're not here as a part of this experience that people have had in LA, living there in the golden era of LA, when many would argue would be sort of like the early 2000s, late 90s, sort of the LA noir period. And Nikki Rahman didn't remember that. She's only remembered hellscape LA. She's only ever remembered communist burning, trash bin, race riots, race wars, homeless encampments on the street, total collapse LA. That's all Nikki Rahman knows. So to have somebody like Spencer Pratt, who many are saying gives 2016 Trump energy vibes, type of energy that upsets elections and leaves slimy politicians sputtering and confused because they know they're going to get blown out of the water and they don't know how to respond to it. You have somebody in here that's like just kind of scorching and a tribute to a different LA, an LA that was a much better LA. They kind of know the game now, tried to cut away as quickly as possible, knowing what this would become, but he snuck it in. Spencer Pratt dares Nikki Rahman to go offer beds to the homeless, saying she'd be stabbed in the neck.
Below the Harbor Freeway tomorrow with her. Treatment first. I will go below the Harbor Freeway tomorrow with her, and we can find some of these people she's going to offer treatment for. She's going to get stabbed in the neck. These people do not want a bed. They want fentanyl or super meth. These ideas cost us over $400 million to house for 70, what did you say? 3,000 people for $400 million. This is absolute failure for both of them. They're a team. Treatment first.
It is the Trump vibes, man. Well said. The obvious solution to homelessness is to criminalize it, lock up every homeless person in a prison or a mental institution. Problem solved. It's literally that simple. Spencer Pratt just said way too many politicians are scared to admit they don't want a bed. They just want fentanyl.
Housing thing. She had to say, Councilwoman Robin acts like she doesn't have any authority with this homelessness. She was the third most powerful person in city council. She runs the homeless housing thing. She acts like this is just Mayor Bass. First off, inside safe. I like to say inside safe makes all of us outside unsafe. The reality is no matter how many beds you give these people, they are on super meth. They are on fentanyl. The DEA statistic says 93% of this is a drug addiction problem. Nithya, Councilwoman Robin's plan for treatment first. I will go below the Harbor Freeway tomorrow with her, and we can find some of these people she's going to offer treatment for. She's going to get stabbed in the neck.
Ooh, baby. And by the way, this is just going nuclear. Hundreds of thousands of views. I mean, when was the last time an LA mayoral race got millions and millions of views across social media? Simple question. Should non-citizens be allowed to vote? Get a load of this.
Well, first of all, when you say non-citizens, should they be allowed to vote in local elections? Is this a yes or no, Mr. Pratt?
No.
Mayor Bass?
It depends. It's not a yes or no.
Depends on what?
Well, first of all, when you say non-citizens, it doesn't mean they're here illegal. It doesn't mean they're undocumented. They could have green cards. They could be here perfectly legal. And there's a lot of states and cities that do that on very, very local elections. We have to see
very, very local.
Councilmember Bremen.
Yeah, I would say, again, it does depend. In other places, school boards have
yes
non-citizens.
Yes or no?
Non-citizens.
Non-citizens.
They can't even answer. If only Americans and Los Angeles residents should be allowed to vote. Total fraud. Pass the test tonight. This is local LA commentariat saying Spencer Pratt is it. He effectively channeled the anger of a lot of Angelenos in the state and the city. And again, he's just a throwback to what LA used to be. Watch Spencer Pratt immediately after the debate.
Just quickly, did you do what you needed to do tonight?
I mean, I would have liked 3 more hours. We got a lot of failures to talk about that these people have. So we should run it back. Part 2. Appreciate it. Don't forget to vote. Send your ballots in right now. Spencer Pratt.
Just quickly.
We should run it back. Spencer Pratt reveals how Hollywood producers are now forced to hire gang members for security due to Councilwoman Rahman's dirty race communism.
But Rahman will tell you, my husband's a producer, blah, blah, blah. The reality is she's been in power for 5 years. Now, all of a sudden, she has these tweets and these posts, and she's doing Substacks. Both of these people have been the reason why there's no more Hollywood. Not to mention, even if they do, these things, we're still going to have drug addicts all over the street because they're treatment first, open beds, not mandatory treatment. Do you know I talked to producers? They have to pay gang members right now to keep the streets safe.
Torching it. Spencer Pratt is our guy, especially after last night's debate, seeing his social media and politics. Spencer Pratt really seemed like a conservative, better than Mandami communication skills. I hope he wins in Los Angeles. We need him. It's incredible to see a guy get a spotlight because local LA politics is the most insane, bizarre shit show. You get desensitized to it, but this actually did happen. She walked out of the hearing when people were pleading with police to save the abused dogs. Not holding any punches, he called out Nikki Rahman for walking out of a public hearing. She doesn't care about safety. She doesn't care about anything. At least Mayor Bass pretends to care. Nervous laughter.
Food, all the employees have to eat inside. They can't risk going out. That's why all these beautiful restaurants are closing, because it's so unsafe. So before we require city workers to go back into any buildings, we need to enforce the laws on the street. Councilwoman Rahman is talking about safety, yet when animal rescue activist Rebecca Corey came in and said the dogs are being tortured and abused on the streets of Dunedin, she walked out of the hearing. She doesn't care about safety. She doesn't care about anything she's talking about. At least Mayor Bass pretends to care.
Mayor.
They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. Pratt isn't an ideologue. He's just using common sense to oppose politicians that burned his home down.
All right, so President Trump just came out to address the nation. Let's tune in.
I thought we'd be down maybe 20%, and we're up. The stock market's higher now than when we started this war. And I thought oil prices would go to $200, $250. It's at $100 now. And I think you're surprised, and I'm surprised. But even if it went to 200, it would have been worth it. I understood that. We had just set a record.
How amazing is that, my friends? The stock market is soaring under President Trump. If you want to learn how to begin investing, we have a totally free offer right now. You can click the link below. Or if you're watching this on your TV, you can take out your phone and scan that QR code. Just download the app. It's totally free to get started. It's never too late, and who knows, maybe you can even learn so you can help your children or your grandchildren as well. Personally, I started investing, and now my investments are up over $60,000. One of you guys even messaged me saying that you're up over $13,000. I believe this is the best time to start investing while Trump is president, because he's the best leader, and the stock market has been hitting record numbers under his leadership. So don't let this opportunity pass you by. Take it as your sign. It's totally free, and I break it down easy for you. I even have a free tutorial that I created just for you. It's all in the description box or pinned in the comments. And this is actually Spencer Pratt was on the Joe Rogan show, because remember, Joe Rogan left Los Angeles after he was fed up with it, but Joe Rogan is actually somebody who loves LA, so he had on Spencer Pratt. Let's take a listen, guys.
After spending a year uncovering how my house and my parents' house burned down and my neighbors burned alive and 7,000 houses burned. And then I realized there's a cover-up going on, all the negligence, and I keep posting about it, and I have all the facts. I have all the whistleblowers. I have all the evidence, and business as usual. And I see that nobody is stepping up to run against the mayor who's responsible for this disaster and so many other disasters. So it became to the point where I got so sick of just being as the younger people say in the comment section, a yapper. Like I felt like I was just yapping. I'm making these videos. I'm telling the truth. I got a congressional investigation. I went to Washington. I met with everyone possible that I could do as just a citizen. And I was like, okay, well, game on now. I'm going to go into your headquarters and just take your job and then remove all these toxic entities that are destroying our way of life in Los Angeles.
So let's start from the fire. So the narrative was, God, there was a lot of terrible, stupid, fake narratives, and one of them was climate change. That was the craziest one, that climate change is causing the fire. Look, I lived in L.A. for 29, 30 years, whatever it was, and I guess it was, somewhere around there, maybe even more, whatever it was. When I lived in L.A., fire season happened every year. This is not climate change. This is not some new thing over the last couple of decades. I was evacuated 3 different times. I used to live in Bell Canyon, and my neighbors, 3 of the homes right across the street from my house burnt to the ground in 2018. There's always been fires in Los Angeles, but the lack of preparation for the Palisades fires was astonishing. The fact that the reservoir was empty was criminal mismanagement. I mean, it was just insanity that everybody knew that we had fires, like massive fires, that it was a dry place, and when the Santa Ana winds would blow, if something caught fire, it was a real problem. We had known that forever. And when you see all these people that are passing the buck and moving the blame, and then the fund, when they had that big charity thing for the fire, and you found out that hundreds of millions of dollars was raised, you know, if you're looking at it like a rational person would say, oh, this is great. All these people who lost their homes will have some funds from this, and they'll be able to rebuild. And then you find out that the money was given to, what was it, like 108 different NGOs?
200 plus.
200 plus, where that money got distributed to these organizations, these supposed nonprofit organizations, and most of that money goes to overhead. And almost nothing goes to the people who lost their homes.
So to rewind, let's start with what we thought.
Right.
We were told climate change. And with the climate change, because I've spent hours and hours arguing with people that will argue with that, I go, okay, great. The climate changes, right? So we're aware of this dry weather. It hasn't rained. So what should we actually be doing? Should we just say, oh, everybody should burn alive and houses burn down? Or should we clear the dead brush? Should we pre-deploy? Should we make sure that both reservoirs have water in it? So the idea that climate change is the get out of jail, burn everything down excuse, it doesn't even add up. So we know that. So let's make a difference. And I went and met with the chief of the U.S. Forest Service and talked to him for a few hours. This guy, Chief Garcia, is one of the most famous fire chiefs from the hot shots. And I quizzed him, and he told me this was not a surprise. He said they all have a map. I forget the name of this map that it goes to all cities and emergency personnel. They have photos. You look at them. He showed them to me. Everything is bright red leading up to January 7th. Bright red. They knew this was coming to the point where Chief Garcia had all of his firefighters on the tarmac, kitted up in their helicopters. He said his whole team was standing by their computers because it was so obvious this fire was coming. It had not rained. It was record dry. So this idea that they use that, it's just an excuse. And then the big one that everyone falls for to this day that is the best propaganda ever is hurricane winds. We were told, you know, Newsom's doing the thing and he's saying the winds would come in, the hurricane, he lit his hair on fire. There was no hurricane winds in the Pacific Palisades. The max wind speed was 40 miles per hour. And for the first 6 hours, when the helicopters, the initial attack, when you put out the fire, it was max, I think, 27 miles per hour. So they got everyone with, it's unprecedented, it's hurricane winds, it's climate change, no responsibilities. So Now we go to fire aid. This was another thing that just woke me up to, you know, we always heard about the homeless NGO scam and the homeless industrial complex, but living as a fire victim and watching all these celebrities go on stage. They actually took fire victims from Altadena on stage whose houses burned down, and they raised this $100 million. And as a victim, I'm thinking, okay, you know, we're going to get a few $1,000s. That's nice. Or, you know, you break 100 million up, there should be a grand, you know, even FEMA and these places, when you get that $1,000 check, it's helpful. You're like, oh, I just lost everything. Every little $1,000 adds up. So when that happened and nobody I know anywhere got money, and Sue Pascoe from Circling the News, a local journalist whose house burned down, she spent months investigating, calling up every single NGO. Who did you give money to? Which victim? Nobody got money. And even the law firm that they hired to do the cover up for the fire aid, the law firm says in their own little 3-page document where they're defending fire aid, they say several of the money went directly to fire victims. Well, I Googled just to see, because I know the definition of several. I want to see, what does Google say several is? It was definitely under 10. So out of 200 plus NGOs, their own lawyers are saying several gave to fire victims. And then you look at the 3 that they name, like, we gave gift cards to victims. Which victims? Which you were just handing out if you were. But it was that woke me up to. If
they just stole the money.
Yeah. And if they'll do that to the people whose houses just burned down, of course they're going to do it to our tax money with the homeless industrial zombie complex. So that was a real wake up that put me into oh, here's where the $25, $30 billion goes. It doesn't go to solving anything or fixing it. It goes to scams.
Wow, so he's actually a very level-headed guy. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? If you live in Los Angeles, or if you did live in Los Angeles, would you support Spencer Pratt? And there's actually, I heard someone say that they would be willing to donate money and to Los Angeles to help make LA great again. And people are even saying that if this guy wins, they're going to move back to Los Angeles, because remember, Los Angeles is actually used to be a really amazing city, but it just got ruined by bad politics. So I actually think that this guy's, pretty legit, and I think he could be a legitimate candidate, and I think he does have a good shot. Take a listen.
Is Los Angeles mayoral candidate and former reality TV star Spencer Pratt. Spencer, it's good to see you. Thanks for being with us here today. I'd love your reaction to Karen Bass, who says you're exploiting the grief of people in the Palisades.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Karen Bass forgot that she let my house burn down and my parents' house burn down, and I had actual neighbors burn alive across the street from my childhood home. The only grief is my grief, my community's grief, that I initially started this fight on behalf of. And she forgets I have received 2 community advocate awards from the Pacific Palisades community. So it's the most insane, psycho, diabolical thing I've heard in a minute, but it's not shocking. This is the same woman that will allow 7,000 houses to burn to the ground, 12 people to burn alive, and then actively cover it up, get caught covering it up, and then say that the LA Times is lying, even though they have the emails where she's altering the after action report, which, as far as I'm concerned, is obstruction of justice. So it's disgusting. It's disgusting. The fact that she's trying to think that I want to be in this position. I want to be back in my life that she let burn down. That's why I got into this race, because somebody like her should not be in a position of power ever again in history.
Whoa, so really interesting, guys. I think this guy has a good shot at winning. I really do. CNN is admitting that Americans are winning in the stock market thanks to President Trump. Take a listen.
It's a success story if you're in the White House right now, the stock market is, and you can see it right here. Okay, S&P 500 shifts at this point in a presidency. Coming into today at the close of yesterday, look at this, up 19%. That is higher than the average president since 2001, when it was up 15%, and way, way higher than the average presidency since 1961, up 6%. So this stock market has been up like a rocket, and no wonder the president of the United States wants to talk about it.
I mean, Donald Trump literally told us that this is a great time to buy, and that this is a great time to get rich, richer than ever before. And I don't know about you, but I did listen to President Trump, and my investment returns are up over $67,000. One of you guys messaged me that you were up over $13,000. Now, if you want to learn how to begin investing, we have a totally free offer with no commitment at all. You can click the link below, download the app, and follow the free tutorial that I created for you guys. I tell you all the stocks that I have, how to get them, and I break it down step by step and easy. If you're watching this on your TV, you can take out your cell phone, open up your camera app, and point it at this QR code and just download the app and the link. And again, it's totally free to get started. It's just my gift to you for being a watcher of my show.